So JoJolion is coming up on its 100th chapter. Well, in the time of recording this, it's been out and I've read it, but let's pretend that that didn't happen. We've been coming up on some significant events for a while now, especially considering chapter 99, and it made me think. Chapter 100 got the front cover of Ultra Jump, pointing out how it's the 100th chapter, and it was most likely going to be a high point in the story. It was. But have we done that before? Consider this. While this is JoJolion's 100th, this is JoJo's 947th. We've had a lot of milestones in the manga, but were they ever bigged up to the extent that chapter 100 of JoJolion is? I want to look at that here. But before we do, a small percentage of the people that watch my videos are subscribed, so if you do frequently watch my content, consider subscribing. It helps a lot and keeps you updated. Our first milestone is chapter 100. The Wind, the Chariot, and Wamu, Part 6. Yes, it's Battle Tendency. Phantom Blood was very brief. In this chapter, Joseph gets the one-up on Wamu. This chapter did not receive a cover on Jump, but what did get a cover was chapter 101. That was where Wamu had snapped back into reality by blinding himself. Next, chapter 200. We're in Stardust Crusaders now. Bastet, Mariah, Part 2. In this chapter, Mariah reveals herself as the enemy stand user plaguing Joseph Joestar with her stand, Bastet. This chapter did receive a cover, and it's of Jotaro Kujo and his stand, Star Platinum. It's his part, so it makes sense that he'd be here. As for his involvement in the chapter, he's there. Like, he's here, and here, and here. So that's something. Now, considering that this chapter ended with Joseph stuck on the escalator, I'd say that that's a reasonably good cliffhanger. Importance in the story, not sure. Araki had shown that he has no qualms with killing a character, but I'm not sure how many people back then could have thought that this was the potential end to Joseph. If this were more like the Vanilla Ice or Pet Shop fight, I'd probably feel differently. Now, chapter 300. This takes us to Diamond is Unbreakable with Yukako Yamagishi Falls in Love, Part 7. In this chapter, the most significant thing to happen here is Koichi's next evolution in character, and that being shown by Echo's Act 1 evolving into Echo's Act 2. This chapter both did and didn't technically get a JoJo cover, because everyone was on here. Look at all of these mangaka. But yeah, this isn't a JoJo only cover exactly, so I wouldn't count that here. Chapter 400, Let's Live on a Transmission Tower, Part 3. And yes, that's another one in DIU. Part 4 had 174 chapters, so it's expected. Now look, this is a Superfly chapter, meaning that this is one of the most important. There was no cover here. Chapter 500, a big 5 in Part 5 with Babyface Part 1. Here we get Melon's first appearance, no cover. Plus, Melon is no head doctor, or a doctor of any kind for that matter. We're doubling it up with a big 6 in 6, Stone Ocean, Chapter 600, Prisoner FE 40536. Jolene Kujo, Part 3. This chapter goes over, Jolene and Guess's new and complicated relationship. This chapter doesn't get a cover either, but it gets a small feature in the next issue. Very small, actually. Next, chapter 700, Bohemian Rhapsody, Part 3. Yes, it's another Stone Ocean issue, but there's 158 chapters in that part. Here, Anasui is trying to figure out the ways to combat Bohemian Rhapsody. This chapter received no cover. Now we're in Steel Ball Run territory with chapter 800, Tubular Bells Part 1. Johnny's trade saves Gyro, and we get these iconic panels. And on the other side of things, we get the introduction of Mike O and his stand Tubular Bells. While we didn't get a cover in this chapter, there was a full cover in the issue before with the Phantom Blood movie promo on it. Right there, you see, look at that. That's something. And finally, chapter 900, Vitamin C and Killer Queen, part 4. We are in JoJolion. This chapter is a large one considering it's a Josefumi and Kira flashback. Now, did this chapter get a cover? Yes! Now, what's cool is that looking into JoJo, it gets a feature on the issue right after that. Then again, for chapter 55, then we get a large one for 56 and 57. There's a lot of JoJo here. Now, some may be thinking, wait, we have to look to the parts with more than 100 chapters. And I'd say that you're right. JoJolion's getting its focus on its 100th, not on the grand scheme of JoJo, unfortunately. And I also have a final thought for after this, but I'll hold that for a bit. First, chapter 100 of Stardust Crusaders, Darby the Gambler, part 3. In this chapter, it's up to Jotaro to face Darby. Now, Jotaro essentially calls Card Darby one of the toughest enemies he's ever encountered. This fight is one of the most iconic fights in Stardust Crusaders. So, did it get a cover? No. Also, I'm not really sure about the whole like iconic thing works within the time. You kind of have to gauge that after. Now, if there were a place where I could see people's opinions on a chapter when it released, that'd be amazing. Chapter 100 of Diamond is Unbreakable, Adam Heartfather, part 1. They're getting further into the Kira investigation, so that's cool. As for the cover, it didn't get one. Chapter 100 of Golden Wind, Spice Girl, part 1. Trish makes massive strides in the fight against Notorious B.I.G., and she wins. It's where we get that great wannabe, like the barrage at the end of the fight. But did this chapter get a cover? No, it did not. Now, for our last part, because Steel Ball Run was actually 95 chapters, imagine that. Stone Ocean, chapter 100, Jailhouse Lock, part 5. This is the chapter before Mew Mew gets entirely defeated. It didn't get a cover, but chapter 101 did. So, in total, the only ones who got a cover at the time of their milestone was Jotaro in chapter 200 and Josuke and Yasuo in chapter 900. And that's of the entire franchise. Chapters that got a cover before or after the milestones were 100, 600, sort of, 800, and 900. Now, why focus on that at all? I want to propose a thought here. I think that the fact that Araki has more room to work on Ultra Jump, he's most likely been able to consider what's going on with everything around his work. That's why JoJolion's 100th has a lot more to it. What's going on with JoJolion chapter 100 is something that hasn't happened with previous parts in terms of importance and focus on their milestone like that. I believe that since Araki has had more time, he can get a lot more intimate with his work. By moving to monthly, he can consider his pacing even further, important events around his work, everything JoJo essentially. While the milestone of chapter 100 in JoJolion focuses on the respective part, it doesn't mean that Araki doesn't consider the past ones too. I feel as though he makes as many continuous nods to the older parts in part 7 and 8 as much as he can. Araki has made strides as a mangaka over time, and his next jump in power was having more room and more time to work around with. And he got that in JoJolion and Steel Ball Run. And since that's a big thing, doesn't that make you want to read JoJolion just a little bit? I hope so. Thank you all for watching, because out of all the places you could have been, you were here with me, and that means a lot. I got the idea for this after seeing the cover for chapter 100 being released, and the fact that I haven't seen anything like that in the franchise was just like, oh wow, it's 100 on the big bold letters. Wow, I'm very surprised. It's something light, but I'd like to say that it does bring a lot more new perspectives, because people don't really get into manga stuff if they're like an anime only type of person. But if you are interested in all that, be sure to read. That'd be great. Now, if you have enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. As for the comments, if you do have a favorite volume, chapter, or issue cover, leave a comment. I would love to see your favorite pieces in JoJo. Maybe you could do something about that video or something along the lines of that. That'd be cool. I'd love to see that. Hopefully, I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, peace out and Godspeed.